Welcome to another episode of Grant Talks Funny Bits, and this one tonight is going to be an interesting one. I have never had so much interest, so many emails, so many Facebook messages and telephone calls telling me not to have this guest on. Now, he is a UK hypnotist. Over the course of this series, we've been very American heavy. We're trying to get some more. We had Ireland last week. We've got a couple of UK hypnotists on. This guy's been performing stage hypnosis for as long as I can remember watching television. He is one of the most controversial characters in the hypnosis industry. We will have some questions for him. I'm sure you guys will have some questions for him too. Someone has put, Grant, have you been shopping? Maybe it's the new T-shirt. I don't know. Throwing me off my the joys of life. So he is a very controversial character. One of my favorite programs in the 90s was a show called The Word, and he was on that show as well. If you were a fan of Kilroy, you will have some images from this man from back in the day that you probably would want to forget. Now, here's the thing. Online, this guy, this character is a lot of people either love him or hate him, and there's quite a few that do hate him. However, in real life, face to face, he's a genuinely nice guy. I've met him a couple of times. We've had drinks, we exchange stories and talk about stuff. So I'm going to play my little graphic. Then after that, you will welcome the man, the myth, the legend. That is, I don't have all his names. I just have his current name, which is the man, the myth, the legend. That is Alex William Smith. Oh, and here he is. There he is.
Hello there.
Please make some noise. Bang your keyboard. Say hello to it's that side. Alex William Smith, the man himself. How are you, Alex?
I'm good. Probably better known to most people these days who are seeing this as Jonathan Royal. And of old, Alex Leroy was the name when I started in stage hypnosis. Yeah.
Yes. Now, within the hypnosis community, there's lots of people that have different titles: master hypnotist, etc., etc., etc. But looking through some of your stuff, I believe that in some stuff you are a lord, and in some stuff you are a doctor.
I love how angry people in this industry get, and it's not just stage hypnotists, it's hypnotherapists. People who frankly should, and if anyone's offended watching this, I couldn't care less. If you're offended, then yes, I'm talking about you, because you could only get offended by it if you're one of the small-minded fuckwits who doesn't realise that you're
I have to stop you there. Look, we had a timer. We had a timer on the back to how long it would be before you swore.
Excellent. Well, somebody's won. But yeah, the thing is, show business, stage hypnosis is show business. Hypnotherapy is show business if you do it right. You're doing a show to one person rather than a big audience, but that's another debate. The point being, people in show business should know that it is about, in the past, years ago, and I mean years ago, I mean more than, I'm 45. I was 45 7 days ago. I started performing when I was thank you. I started performing when I was 3 years and 3 months old with my dad as a clown. And so I grew up in show business, but it was even before my birth that, like in the 50s and 60s, even in my dad's time, it was show, SHOW, and then business, small.
Yeah.
From me being born and growing up, the older I've got, but certainly by the time my teenage years, it rapidly became that the show minimized and the business is the key. It's now 99% business and 1% show. So the people who get angry at me, the people who slag me off on the internet, they're either small-minded idiots who believe what somebody else has told them or they've seen posted on the internet and are too lazy, or one of the sheeple that follows, because this certain alleged famous successful name in hypnosis says Jonathan Royal, Alex Smith, or whatever is Beelzebub, he must be. They forget that so-called name in the industry is what I would call a 5-minute sensation. They they've been around for like less than 5 years, the majority of them, certainly less than 10 years. And the majority of them have do a handful of shows a year. I mean, like, the truth is, a lot of so-called stage hypnotists, if they're doing 50 shows in a year, especially the British and European ones, then they're bloody lucky. Those that are actually earning a really damn good living have, in England, a teeny-weeny number. America's a whole different ballgame. Bloody hell, how different the ballgame that is. I mean, if I was to quote the kind of fees that stage hypnotists in England tend to demand, on average, which in truth, average, middle of the road, you're lucky if you're getting 500 quid plus expenses. More UK working stage hypnotists. And in fact, the majority that are doing bread and butter work are lucky if they're getting 250 to 350 quid a show.
There's a lot of
get out of bed for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of UK people that want. I don't get me wrong. It's stage time and experience on stage is all fair and well, but the problem is when you're doing that commercially, it devalues the whole thing. And there's a lot of people, especially in the UK market, that want the stage time and the experience, and it drives that price. It drives that price right down.
And the irony is that if they learnt about marketing, advertising, publicity, and promotion, they could put themselves on the map, create the demand for themselves, even if they're brand new to the industry, and be able to go out from stage one for an above average fee, which is what I did 30 years ago when I got into stage hypnosis.
You've got to, as a specialty act, you've got to go out more than what a Michael Bublé tribute is going out for. That's the fair point. So going on your point there about marketing and publicity, it would be remiss of me, and everyone would send me messages to not mention this. You are the most notorious person for jumping on posts and promoting your stuff. 2 points. One, do you think a lot of the hypnotists that are around in the UK at the moment, or around wherever at the moment, do you think that they dislike you because you do actually offer training at a really ridiculously value for money fee? Because that's your business.
Well, no, it isn't. It's not my bit. I don't need the money.
No.
I was semi-retired by the time I was 30. I bought my own property outright for cash. People on the internet say that's bullshit, but that is why I posted up on my Facebook profile. It's open to the public. The deeds to the property showing that I bought it outright before I was 30. And then people go, well, you're still living in that ex-council flat. Well, no, I'm not. It was a former council flat. I bought it outright for cash before I was 30. That's now being rented out, producing the rental income, and I'm living in a 3-bedroomed house. And we'll be moving shortly again. There's so much nonsense out there.
Of course, that's what we're going to clear up now. So, but your marketing, your business side of things, whether you need the revenue or not, is about putting those posts out there and generating interest for your sales and for your online products, which is a great business.
I don't manually sit there doing these posts.
Oh, no.
I sometimes reply in a thread if I have a conversation with somebody, but what you're really referring to is posts that appear in every group you can think of until I get banned from it. Well, you know what? I have software that's freely available. You can buy software that will join Facebook groups and then post what you queue it up to. I've got better things to do with my life than sit there posting these things in groups. Of course.
Well, this is what I'm saying. These people that have the dislike for you is based on those posts, in my opinion, based on those posts and the price that you can sell DVD products to teach people stage hypnosis. My personal opinion is it doesn't matter if somebody buys a product off eBay or from wherever from a low price, because that gives them either an in or and I'll be honest, your products are full of valuable information, full of them. People don't realize that because they've been blinded to this, either this persona or the poison that's been dripped in from other people.
Most of the people who slag me off have actually bought my products. I just can't legally name them under GDPR rules. I would be breaking the law to say this person who slagged me off here has got all these products. But I can honestly tell you there is not a working, truly successful working stage hypnotist in the world that hasn't got at least something of mine.
Oh, yeah. And to be fair, I was going to bring a couple of your DVDs that I've got as well. Everybody's got them. I mean, you've got to do them. Just, I'll be honest, I bought your product to kind of see what the hype was about. And do you know what the amazing thing is I can look back at it now and you still get bits of information from it. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter where you are on your hypnosis journey, there is great value, and you over deliver when it comes to stuff like that. I remember buying a product off you years ago, and I came to meet you in Rochdale. And with the product that I bought off you, you put in some more products, some other bits and bobs and some other stuff, and just, do you know what I mean? You over deliver. But people don't see that side of you. People just see the online side of you. And that's filtered through various different information. Stuff like the word, which I love the word. And we were saying earlier, it's a type of show that I don't think we would ever see on TV again. It's right for YouTube and that whole jackass type of culture, but the word was the original from that.
That's 27, fast approaching 28 years ago, January 1993. I was on there with Peter Powers, and there's an interesting story with that. I grew up in the circus, so obviously, if you've seen the Greatest Showman film with Barnum, you know, I come from that kind of background, performing from an early age, and I knew marketing's where it's at. I was pretty successful as a stand-up comedy magician in the working men's clubs in my early teens before I moved into the stage hypnosis. So when I moved into the stage hypnosis, I did my first stage hypnosis show in 1990 when I was 15. By the time of 92, I turned 17 in August 92. End of 92, I started hiring upstairs in like working men's clubs where they had the function room. I'd hire them midweek. And I could get in Haywood, there was one, the United Services Club, it seat up to 300 people. And I was able to rent it midweek for 25 quid. Now, in fairness, this was 1992. I built the town, and that actually is the show where somebody from Channel 4's The Word came along to see whether I was actually able to do what I was claiming. Because when I'd seen The Word, it suddenly crossed my mind one day, right, now I'm going to start doing these bigger venues. I'm going to send a letter off to The Word. I loved the show. I thought it'd be ideal to go on there, and I sent it, and unbeknownst to me, synchronicity, call it what you will, look, they were planning on doing a Battle of the Hypnotist segment in 2 weeks' time from me having sent this letter. And at the time, the two people they narrowed it down to that were going to be on the show were Ken Webster, I understand, and Peter Powers. Okay. Nice. Now, I believe that there was some disagreement, and that one or more of them basically said, well, I'm not doing it if you have some young upstart on the show. And there were allegations made that I couldn't even do it properly. So they came and saw me do a show, and then I had to go up to London and hypnotise some people in the Word office, which I did, and made the assistant producer's secretary fall in love with me. Oh, she was fit. When she stuck her tongue down my throat, I let that routine go on way too long. But hey, it got me on the Word. And what happened is that I believe that somebody spat the dummy out. That's the story I got told by Peter Powers and people at the Word. I don't know how true. And ultimately, it ended up just being me and Peter Powers on there, and that went out about the second week of January 1993. And basically the following morning, I had offers galore, and within a couple of weeks doing a residency, doing 5 nights a week in a nightclub in High Wycombe called the London Bus Emporium, where I ended up with groupies like all the football players from Wycombe Wanderers Football Club used to come and hang out and bring their supermodel girlfriends. They'd bring celebrities along. I didn't have chairs on stage. They had proper 3-piece sofas on the stage, and it just went like that overnight.
I mean, the industry the industry's changed a lot since then. I mean, the clip you talk about with Peter Powell's as well is the clip that we've got today. We can't play the full clip. We'll play a section of it. But yeah, it is a great clip. Moving on slightly, because I know we're going to run over tonight. I know that.
No
Just a couple of mentions as well. Barry Foster says, "Hi guys, enjoying your gig." Jason
Barry
Nobby
St.
Morgan.
John. Yeah,
Yes.
Barry Foster, aka Barry St. John. Nice guy.
That's it. Jason Nobinosis Morgan says, "Alex saved my ass when he told me to take 2 outfits to shows, and the first time I did, I split my trousers." Yes, he's told me that story as well. So that's one of the things, from coming from a stage background, you've walked those boards, you've been through those experiences. Talking.
If it could go wrong, go wrong, I'd probably had it go wrong. I can tell you some. Well, I'm sure you'll ask me for funny stories later. Hence the name of your podcast. But you wouldn't believe some of the things that have happened.
Yes. Speaking of things going wrong. Lots of stuff has happened to you along your career, and one of the things that people targeted you for, but luckily it's kind of been proven that most of those allegations, I'll say all of those allegations, as far as I'm aware, have been kind of improved or disproved now. But you were involved in the fake shake incident, which was a massive news story a couple of years ago. But this was the thing where you got tarnished with. I think it was a drug dealer, a pimp, a counterfeiter, a murderer.
In 1998, I set out. I'd already been working as an undercover journalist, and again, there's people on the internet who'll tell you that's bullshit. But this is published in my autobiography that's been out since I was 30, and I name names, places, dates, and facts that if they were not true by now, I would have had my arse sued off massively by Rupert Murdoch's news organisation, who would, believe me, they would if they could. But the shoe is on the other foot, so to speak. I've actually got litigation occurring involving the Murdoch organisation, but it's where my lawyers are suing him. Anyway, back in 1998, I tried to expose Mazza Mahmood, the fake sheikh of the former News of the World, for the fabricator of bullshit, made up stories where he entrapped people, planted drugs on them, edited, spliced stuff together so that it looked like things had happened that hadn't. Unfortunately, it backfired a tiny bit at the time. And now in the long term, ironically, it's kind of good that it did. And we haven't got time to explain why that's kind of good. But if people want to know the full story with evidence, facts, with links to the court documents that you can check, that's the key. You can go to circusofthemind.net or magicalguru.com and click on where it says and there's a bit that says fake shake exposed. And if you click on there, you'll see all the latest court documents. I've got an appeal in with the Court of Appeal as we speak that's been ongoing for years. I've got civil litigation going against the Murdoch organisation in process. In a nutshell, the story they printed said that children's television presenter, because I was doing some slots on Nickelodeon Kids TV at the time. Children's telly presenter is a drug smuggling, counterfeit money supplying, Uzi gun salesman pimp of underage girls, and
that should be a T-shirt.
And rakes in the cash with counterfeit coins. All I'm going to say is this. The only thing I ever got charged with was having some alleged counterfeit coins in my possession for literally 2 hours, where I got them from this place and delivered them to this place. But I was recording it all. I proved this to the police. That's why they didn't do me for offering drugs. And some of the things I never said. Some of the things I was accused of, I never actually said. There was no evidence at all. That's why I was never charged. Yeah. More importantly, the police knew I was trying to set up Mazza Mahmood because of the tapes I supplied, and that is why they were my witnesses. Although the CPS said they had to do me for the coins, because they said I didn't have a lawful excuse at the time, because I wasn't a member of the National Union of Journalists. Daft me, if I'd have paid my subs, if I'd have had my NUJ card, I actually would never have gone to court because I would have been granted journalistic license in the same way as Mahmood was for buying them. But the irony of it is, years on from that, and the shit that it's caused with people accusing me of all manner of stuff and not bothering to look at the facts, it's died off a lot, the negativity from that, since Talisa Konstantopoulos, the British pop star, got accused of supplying drugs, which she didn't. And the case collapsed, and Mahmood was a proven liar, and he got jailed. And I was there when he got jailed, and myself, London's Burning Grange Hill, British actor John Alford, heavyweight boxer Herbie Hyde, former Page 3 girl Emma Morgan. We were all on Newsnight that night. And from then, the truth starting to get out. A lot of people who slagged me off in the past actually contacted me privately and apologized because they realized I'd always been telling the truth about the fact that I was trying to expose Mahmood. And there's going to be a lot of people. Well, the fact is now it's got to the point that if anyone posts anything like that, and there is a certain UK female stage hypnotist, and I will mention her name, Christina Lennon, because I've got the screenshots and evidence on file. I don't care. And she's been warned, and I contacted her. And what did she do with the email I told her to cease and desist? She took it and put screenshots into Richard Barker's hypnosis group, which is a further offence. If she does anything else, it will be passed to my lawyers, and she will probably lose her home because she's guilty as sin, because she's already been given the link to prove that what she's accused me of being guilty of, I am not, and the evidence is all on circusofthemind.net. So if she does it again and accuses me of it, then she has no legal defense because she's already been given, and by virtue of posting screenshots of the email that I sent her in Richard Barker's group, she's made it public that she's been given the link of the proof that what she said is defamatory. If anyone does that in future, they go straight to court because I've got a wonderful civil lawyer who helped win
as we speak. I'm getting messages as we speak saying, I told you going live. No, I'm kidding. So, speaking of Richard Barker's group, there was some controversy recently about that.
Oh, go on, let's talk about that because that was the biggest waste of money webinar ever. Yeah, he hosted Michael Mesmer. No offense personally to either of them, but Richard hosted Michael Mesmer doing a COVID-19 safety webinar for stage hypnotists. I bought my ticket like anyone else. Yeah. And it was shite. I've forgotten more when I go to the toilet. I'd already, before the webinar, I'd already recorded 2 interviews. One with Stuart Harrison Cassells, an experienced health and safety officer from majorly dangerous large-scale events, who's also now a stage hypnotist. So he understands health and safety, the laws, but of really dangerous things, and hypnosis. I also interviewed a guy called Stuart Gavin, who is a business compliance legal advisor and also a health and safety guy. Both of these I put out for free on my hypnosisweek.com channel. There was more information in the first 10 minutes of my interview with Stuart Gavin and more information in the first 10 minutes of my interview with Stuart Cassells than there was in the entire webinar that they charged money for with Michael Mesmer and Richard Barker. So yes, during that I was on, I posted the links in the box to people saying, this doesn't even scrape the surface. Here's the links to these videos, free of charge. You know why? Because I want safety in this industry. The information they gave out on that webinar was incompetent and negligent and didn't even scrape the surface of what I gave away free. So yes, he went away, slagged me off, people. But you know what? Loads of those people on it who slagged me off publicly in the group, I'm not going to mention the names because then I'm breaking GDPR rules. But the vast majority of those who slagged me off in Barker's group where they don't think I'd see it, but I get sent the screenshots by people, actually went to the link I gave out and downloaded the free information. And I guarantee they learned more from it.
Moving on from that, if you were to give one tip about kind of performing hypnosis in the current COVID situation as we're coming out of it, so I know in Manchester you're still in a bit of lockdown over there, aren't you? Same with us over in Kirklees.
Yeah.
What would you say is a good tip from all the information from the researches that you've done about starting to move forward with those shows?
Right now, this second, honestly, if you can afford it, just don't do any shows. Yeah. That is the best tip.
I've been offered 3 shows myself personally over the last couple of weeks, and I'm not willing to ruin my reputation to do that, if you know what I mean.
And you know why I'm saying that? Now in the videos that are on hypnosisweek.com, we do tell you how to socially distance the people on stage, how to make it safe, abide by guidelines and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And the stuff that will help you to get back legally, safely, ethically and morally into working. However, if you can afford to turn down shows until such times as we do actually get back to something more normal, then do it. And the reason for that is this, because all it takes is somebody to have been at your show and a day or two later get diagnosed with COVID.
Yep.
They probably didn't get it at your show.
No.
But if they wanted to make a quick buck, or they, for whatever reason, decide that it happened because of your show, the fact that they can't prove that, you can't disprove the possibility it could have been, and that the media publicity of that could really harm your career.
Yeah. I mean, without going into the situation, because I know it's something you're very passionate about, Alex, but that, I mean, that's exactly what happened before with the situation with the girl in Preston that died. There was no correlation between stage hypnosis whatsoever.
Can I briefly explain that a little bit? Because, you know...
Briefly.
Briefly. Basically, in 1993, towards the end of 93, a lady called Sharon Taban died several hours after attending a stage hypnosis show in Preston, England. Her mother, understandably, and friends decided it had something to do with having been hypnotized and woke up at the end of the show with 10,000 volts of electricity up her backside. This led to the British media doing a hatchet job on Stage Hypnotist. Now, there was Peter Powers, myself, and a couple of others who got mentioned in the Sun newspaper articles that happened just around the time that the government decided they were going to do an investigation into the safety or dangers of stage hypnosis.
Yeah.
Story cut short, the Home Office categorically stated that Sharon Taban's death had no correlation with being hypnotized at that show whatsoever, that there was alcohol in her bloodstream and she passed after inhaling her own vomit and whatnot. Yeah. There's more stuff on my website, magicalguru.com, on the TV show page. Now, I was regularly, because by that point in 94, I'd been on television numerous times, in the media numerous times. They had footage of me, stock footage. So the news at 10, the BBC News, the national news, would be talking about this campaign against stage hypnotists, and they would show footage of a stage hypnotist. Who did the show? Me. Yeah. And lots of people in the business actually got so conditioned by it, they actually ended up thinking it was me that did the stage hypnosis show. It wasn't. It was a guy called Andrew Vincent. If you actually look at magicalguru.com, the TV shows page, you'll see that every step of the way I went on GMTV, as it's called now, This Morning Britain, numerous TV shows defending stage hypnosis and calling for stricter safety measures and better health and safety. Because frankly, I don't think the 1952 Hypnotism Act is tight enough.
Yeah, you could very well be right there. It's bizarre that there's such a low entry into the industry, which is why there's a lot of cannon fodder around it. Going back to the lighter side of hypnosis, when it comes to publicity, television appearances, etc., 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 you have done a lot.
Hundreds and hundreds of them around the world over the past 45 now. First television was the age of 6.
Fantastic. Now, one of the things you've done now, you've met Alan. Alan used to do the sound for my show.
Of course, I met Alan. Alan was with you. Yeah, Alan was with you over the White Line in Rochdale years ago.
Years ago, exactly. Now, Alan, there is some footage. I'm not going to play it, but whenever Alan gets a bit rowdy, I always kind of mention the show we came to see in Manchester, where you were actually doing belly button reading, and Alan volunteered on stage.
Oh, my Egg Sausage Peas Mentalism show.
Egg Sausage Peas Mentalism show. So I do have a copy of that somewhere.
Well, the footage of the belly button section from that is on my psychic belly button reading page at magicalguru.com, so his face will be on there if people
there we go. So anyone that knows Alan, if you go onto magicalguru.com and look at the psychic belly button reading, you will see Alan getting his belly button read quite precisely as well. Now, this is something that you took as a product and then ended up on I don't know what it's called now, This Morning. You on this
Oh,
morning
I'm
doing that?
doing
Is
the
that
belly
true?
button reading thing. I came up with
Sorry,
that.
Alan has just come online now and says, "Really, Grant?"
Excellent. Yeah, it is. It really is. Yeah, I came up with that in about 1990, originally, because I was doing psychic fairs, and I wanted a gimmick. A gimmick is what sells, whether people like it or not. You've got to be different. And it's all well and good doing a demonstration at the psychic fair of this is how to read tarot, and then they might come for a reading. No. Firstly, I charge more than any other reader did on the psychic fair. And when I did my demos, I did effectively a stage hypnosis show for 20 minutes. And at the end, I did a bit of belly button reading, psychic belly button reading. Look at my website to work out what that's all about. I explain it all there, the nonsense behind it. But yeah, I mean, with that, I've done well over 100 TV shows around the world. Literally every country in the world in the well, no, not the early 90s, it was the mid 90s. It was really big in 97, 98, 99. That's when I was reading celebrity belly buttons. The media were getting me together with celebrities and running articles on my predictions for them. Bizarrely of which, mainly through sheer luck and fluke, all of them came true.
Brilliant. We've got the clip from the word. It is quite a long clip, so I'm only going to play maybe a couple of minutes of it. But he gets to see you on stage. How old were you in this clip?
They said I was 18 because they thought the 1952 Hypnotism Act, with its mention of in England you've got to be 18 to be hypnotised, would mean that if they said I was 17, they could get in trouble. Well, that isn't the case. There's no rule about how old the hypnotist has to be. They said I was 18. I was actually 17 years old at the time.
Nice. Right, I'm going to play that clip now. Be careful what you say because sometimes people can hear us behind the clip, so don't say anything until the show's finished. There you go.
Powers the title of Britain shooting cow.
Two boys plied their crafts, and we've got the 4 most susceptible people from each football team. They are all volunteers. There's nothing unethical or impropriety going on at all, is there?
That's right.
It's completely down the line. So we're going to have a quick taste now of exactly what they're going to be doing later on, and then we're going to have the full later on. So, Alex, if you want to start. Show us exactly what you can do.
As soon as I say 1, 2, wide awake, you'll all be instantly wide awake. You're at a football match, but instead of football players, there are 30 naked women on the pitch. You can also see everyone in the audience of the opposite sex in the nude, and the more noise you make, the more sexual things they'll do to you. 1, 2, wide awake, everybody! That's it, the more noise you make, the more sexual things they'll do to you. The more noise you make.
I think that's not enough.
Sleep.
That's enough, and that's just a taste, unfortunately, of what's going to come. Peter, do you want to show us what you can do on your side?
When I count to 3, you'll be wide awake, and you'll be wide awake. Every single word that you try to speak will come out in Chinese, much to your surprise. When I count to 3, you'll be awake, and every word you try to speak, you'll come out with a stutter, a terrible pronounced stutter. You've always stuttered, so it doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, you can wake up, lads. Are we going to win the match tonight? How many goals are you going to score?
2.
Are we going to win tonight, lads? Are you going to win? How many goals are you going to score? Oh, shut up.
That's enough of that. That's far too humiliating. Well, I'm not totally convinced myself, but on the other hand, I'm not going to look into their eyes because it's a bit too scary. So let's see what they can do later on. Terry. Welcome to the first round of the Battle of the Hypnotists, and we've brought in, at great personal expense, our celebrity judge, Katie Puckrick, who's going to be adjudicating. And not a big round of applause either, was there? Come on. Sake.
So I'm the celebrity.
Yeah,
Mark,
just for tonight.
Mark, you must be hard up. You know
Who's going to be the winner tonight? Who's the force going to be with? Is it going to be Lord of the Chance, Peter Powers, or is it going to be the young pretender? Oh, it looks like it is, by the way, he's getting excited there. Alex Leroy. Now, I'll introduce the teams, because I didn't introduce them earlier. These are the William Stevens Football Club from Dudley. And on this side, we've got the Shoalin Sports and Social Club from Southampton. And I must stress that all these people are volunteers. They're all over 18. So for the first round, I'm going to give you a minute actually this time, Peter. So take it away. Show us what you can do.
They played very well in the first half, at least these three have anyway, and I'm going to reward them with an apple. When I count, in fact, hold your hand out ready for your fruit. Hold your hand out ready for your fruit. As soon as I put it into your hand, you'll open your eyes and there you will see a delicious apple. It will feel, smell and taste just like the most delicious apple you've ever experienced. As soon as I put it into your hand, you can open your eyes, you can bite it, it will be delicious. You really enjoy it. As soon as I put the fruit in your hand, you can open your eyes and eat it. There's your apple. There's your apple. Take a nice big bite now. There's your apple. Take a nice big bite. Enjoy your apple. Open your eyes, you can eat it. You've not played very well at all. You have lost your concentration. And that's because somebody has stolen your willy. When I count to 3, you'll be wide awake and you'll realise that Mark has stolen your willy and he swapped it for his little teeny-weeny one and you're bloody furious. You want it back. You really lose your temper. You'll not be violent. 1, 2, 3, you're wide awake.
Mark, you bastard! Give it back! I want it back now! Give it back!
I think we'll leave it there, Pete. I think we'll leave it there. And in fact, the only reason I agreed to do this piece was if we dropped the willy bit. Well, I think you sneaked in with a few extra points anyway, Peter. Alex, show us what you can do, and try and make it a little bit more tasteful if you could.
I'm only talking to you if I touch you on the shoulder. When you wake up, you've got a red card in your hand, and you're the referee at a football match. You've got to send the other players off because they've done something really awful. You won't accept any shit from them. You three, when you wake up, you've been sent off, and you know it's the end of your career if you get sent off, so you're going to plead and beg, and you really don't want to be sent off. 1, 2, wide awake, everybody, wide awake.
How many times have I got to tell you? You are now right! Get off, I'll just find you.
Sleep. When you wake up, you're a really apologetic referee. You're really apologetic. Sleep and stand.
Oh, brilliant. There we go. Great routines. Some of those routines I don't think we
you got
can
a
do
lot better
anymore.
afterwards, but you can see it on magicalguru.com on the TV page.
Yeah,
It got better after that. You bear in mind, I did exactly what the producers told me to do. Yeah. I had no say in the routines. Now, as it happens, Peter, as he confided in me on the journey home, because he kindly gave me a lift back home that night, which was great because Channel 4's producers gave me cash to pay the hotel when I arrived. Right. They gave me that in the studio. Oh, here's cash for the hotel when you get there. And I ended up getting a lift with Peter home, so I made extra money that night, which was nice. But anyway, that's irrelevant. Yeah, he confided in me that he was supposed to have struck out the willy gag, and there was something else he wasn't supposed to have done that he did do. And he said, well, it was live TV. And he taught me a valuable lesson there, that with live TV, agree beforehand to what they say and then do whatever you want to push your agenda. Because it's about, once it's gone out to millions of people.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's you know, the media picks up on that and it does snowball. So just going back to the point before the clip there, Ian Rogers says, show your belly to the camera, Grant, and let him read it. No. Is the simple answer to that? No.
Spoiler. It's called reading. Yeah. It's nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. So, as a performer, probably almost anything and everything has happened to you. What's the most standout thing to you over the years? The funniest thing, not craziest, not most dangerous. What's the moment that you look back on and go, I loved doing that?
Loved it. All right, that's a slightly different question because what just entered my head then. Funny wise, it's not necessarily love doing it, but I've got to tell you, I was at the Hilton Hotel in Bahrain, and having eventually got to the hotel, because I got to Bahrain and none of my luggage had arrived. Apparently that was in Amsterdam, and it wasn't going to get there till the following day. Now, I had the show the following day, so it was touch or go whether I was going to have any props, costumes, music or anything. Yeah. So I had to go and buy stuff off a market and cobble something together. But I'm getting driven to the hotel, and lo and behold, I look at the side of me and it's like desert land, and there's billboards that are like 30, 40 foot high by probably a couple of 100 foot wide. I mean, they're like the size of a street. And I thought, that looks familiar. And then I realised, it's me. What the flipping hell's going on here? Yeah. That was mental. But anyway, no, the bit that was funny was the sound check. I put on my rider that I required a wireless microphone. Now, lesson to be learned from this, because this is a lot of years ago. Now I say wireless bracket a radio microphone. I just bought wireless microphone. I get to sound check and they've got a lead mic in a mic stand, because I'd asked for a mic stand as well. Yeah. And I said, that's fine for, your compare and stuff. Where's the wireless mic? And they took it out the mic stand. I kid you not, the sound technician unplugged the wire and handed it me. And I was like, what, are you serious? And I said, you're joking, aren't you? And he was like, no, you're wireless microphone.
Wow.
But, oh my God, and you're supposed to be a sound tech. You do know that won't work.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they managed to get me one by Showtime. What personally did I have the most joy out of doing, routine-wise? Now that's okay. Fuck it. People don't like me anyway, so who cares? That would be knowing that when I've got a BBC television film crew there filming me, that if I woke a woman up thinking she'd just been raped,
Alex.
And that she would take her anger out on the hypnotist whose willy was still on show, except it's a carrot, a big carrot, that would get used by the BBC, and that would cause massive newspaper articles. But more importantly, and this is the thing that people seem to forget, because this was in the 90s, we live in a different world now, never do that now, is that made me a lot of money and got me a lot of shows.
Yeah.
Yes, there are people out there who were in the business at the time that lost shows. But you know what? That's not my problem. It's my family that needed to be fed. My early retirement before I was 30, buying my own home outright for cash, that was vital, not someone else's. And that's the problem too many stage hypnotists and hypnotherapists have, is 15 letters that make up 2 words. The things that get in the way of you being famous, successful, or rich. And that's other hypnotists and giving a shit what they think. Honestly.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Alex Smith is a very misunderstood character.
But can I just say, though, here's the thing. I knew they'd broadcast that, but the irony of it is, to this day, there are people doing the routine that you're in love with the hypnotist now. Sleep. Yeah. When you wake up in a few moments' time, you're no longer in love with that individual from the audience, eh? You now believe it's a horrible, smelly pervert, and they've been doing inappropriate things. All that is different wording.
Yeah.
That is the rape routine.
Yeah. I mean,
all the difference is the words. Because what we do as stage hypnotists is shite. What we do is fundamentally the least entertaining thing on the planet, as far as I'm concerned, even though it's been very good to me as a career.
Yeah.
We tell people, we apparently tell people to do things that they could do anyway, right? Well, most stage hypnotists do. What my philosophy was, and it still is, except now I do it in a manner that's more politically correct, mainly because some of the corporate companies I work for wouldn't book me otherwise. Yeah. But the only reason they book me, ironically, is because they know of me because of all the controversy. British bad boy of hypnosis and all that nonsense. But the truth is, if you go out and do this whole "we can't make you do things against your will" with hypnosis nonsense, which so many people do in their pre-talk, you know what? There's a way to do that. There's a right way and a wrong way. The right way, in my opinion, and I know lots of people will disagree with me because they'll go, no, it's about reassuring the audience. Well, no, actually, I believe that you need the audience to be a bit shit scared of you. Yeah. Okay, that makes it easier to get them under for starters and control them. But also, the majority of the audience, the people we're dealing with, the people on stage, by volunteering, they've decided, I've got the perfect excuse to make a prick of myself for an hour because I can say the hypnotist made me do it. And afterwards, they can choose to either have amnesia or not. They either, I can't remember what I did, so that encourages the friends to remind them, so there's a centre of attention still. Or they go, I can remember, but I just couldn't stop myself. So all self-blame, shame, guilt, and regret is removed from them. Hypnosis doesn't bloody exist. It's nonsense. It's social compliance. And any stage hypnotist who thinks different doesn't know what they're doing. Any hypnotherapist who thinks they've ever hypnotized anyone needs to learn properly and get a refund from whoever they taught, because it's emotional and psychological manipulation. With hypnotherapy, giving an environment for people to offload that baggage, self-blame, shame, guilt, and regret that they've not been able to before, because if they did, they know the family and friends would go, Dave, why didn't you do that sooner? And they'd feel attacked. So then that would lead to relapse. But if they have to see a therapist, they can't be blamed for not having done it themselves sooner. Same with stage hypnosis. It's nonsense. And if you don't present it in a manner where the majority of the audience believe you've got some kind of special power or ability to control people, and the only way they're going to believe that, yes, I do tell them, you know, if you volunteer, you won't do anything that contradicts them, your morals or your values. And I'll kind of look.
Yeah.
So I'm non-verbally effectively saying that's bullshit.
Yeah. And it's not that. It's. I think a lot of it as well is, in my opinion, what makes a good hypnotist isn't the process of hypnosis. It's the theatre and the dramatics between those bits. It's the theatre of the illusion of abilities, the illusion of power. And
an audience wants to believe. They want to believe there's a special power because they want to believe that if they learnt it, they could have that special power.
Yes. Yes. I've just had a friend text me now going, see, I told you it doesn't exist. I'm like, well, no, it doesn't. It's all in your mind.
It exists only in the mind of the believer.
Yes.
Because hypnosis is purely suggestion. Therapeutically, it's placebo, but that's not a negative. Placebo is the most powerful healing agent on the planet.
Yeah.
And stage hypnosis wise, well, you know what? If some people genuinely believe the hypnotist has some kind of ability and they go through an important seeming ritualistic process that gives them permission to make an ass of themselves for an hour and have the excuse to go, I couldn't stop myself or I didn't know what I was doing. But it allows them that freedom to feel, it's cliche, but to feel totally free and uninhibited.
Yes.
That itself's a massively therapeutic healing experience itself, arguably. So what's wrong with that?
Exactly, and that's it. There's the two camps of it. It's this, it's that, it's the other. But done right, the experience for the volunteer on stage is, if it's a positive experience, they're going to come away and it does the whole industry good. What kills our industry isn't the controversy and all the stuff that's in the papers. What kills it is boring hypnotists. Somebody goes to see a stage hypnosis show and it's naff, then they're not going to go see a hypnotherapist. They're not going to go buy tickets to go see another stage hypnotist. That's one of the worst things to our industry. Now, I always ask people tips.
Go on.
So a budding stage hypnotist watching this, or a hypnotherapist that's wanting to do some performance stuff, what's your nugget, your words of advice, your wisdom that you would say to them?
The sooner, and this will cost you absolutely nothing at all, okay? You go to magicalguru.com, you click on the bit that says free stuff, and on that page there is a link where it says Rebel Hypnotherapist and Stage Hypnotist Reveals All. You can download free of charge, no cost whatsoever, no upsell. It's free. 6 hours of training videos from an event that British television celebrity weight loss guru Steve Miller, founder of Hypnosis, ran in 2017. That was called the Royal event. It was a sold-out event. He got a room for 100 people. There were 100 hypnotherapists, psychotherapists, psychiatrists. There were clinical psychologists in there. There were people that hated me as well that he purposely invited as VIPs. By the end of it all of them gave me not one, but 2 standing ovations, as you'll see on the videos. Now, don't say that. Well, I am bragging a bit, but I'm quite proud of it. Especially because I converted the people who hated me into, oh my God, I've learned more in the past 6 hours than I ever did on these thousands of pounds therapy courses. Watch them and realize hypnosis is not what you were taught it was. Unless I taught you originally, then you already know.
And it is,
the chances are, if you didn't learn off me originally, you probably got ripped off and you got told a load of lies that were regurgitated from someone who'd learned to teach other people hypnosis because they could never achieve anything of a real successful career of their own in the real world. Don't forget, despite what people say on the internet about me, they go, oh, but what does he know? He hasn't done shows in years. Well, that's funny, because I just filmed this 3-part TV series in Sweden just over 12 months ago. The past 5 months are a write-off for everyone because of COVID.
Great quality video. That I was going to play that clip, but it was too long a clip. But it's a great quality demonstration of hypnosis. Is that?
Again, you'll see if you go on magicalguru.com, click on where it says Television Without Frontiers. And the clip's there. It's only one of the clips because I'm in all 3 episodes. That's just from one episode. Live shows wise, just before the lockdown, I was out in the Seychelles for a very exclusive cabaret venue with supermodels, celebrities and stuff. You don't see them advertised to the public, a lot of these shows, because the public can't go. However, if you look at my Facebook profile, you'll see I was in the Seychelles. You'll see the photo of the stage before I do the show. I am still working, but for some reason, people in Richard Barker's hypnosis group, when they're slagging me off, like to say, even he does at times, what's he, you know, he's made comment along the lines of, what does Royal know? You know, he hasn't done shows in recent years. Well, if that was the case, if he didn't really value my opinion, why was I the first ever headline speaker on the first ever hypnotist entertainment cruise that he organised, along with Jay Noblezada? And as the videos prove, 98% of the training sessions on that were run by me. And who sat there taking notes? Mr. Barker. And he's certainly followed some of that advice with his it looks very good, by the way. It's a hopefully forthcoming TV project. I mean, it looks really, really good, but he's obviously followed my advice to make it look good.
I mean, Richard, you know, is a Brit that's out there doing really well, and he's you know, he has, you know, I know you guys have had some stuff, but you've been friends as well in the past at some point, you know. But it's fair to say that he is, you know, it comes to marketing as well. He does a really good job with his marketing. So, you know,
well, he's massively become better at that since spending a week with me. Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe that's just a coincidence. Hey, you know, I'm sure he'll claim he learned nothing from me, despite the video footage I've got where he's praising to high heaven everything he learned. Yeah, which I have on file.
So it's like herding cats, this, but good fun. So.
You know what, while we're at it, let's just point out there isn't a famous stage hypnotist in England who at some point hasn't sought help and advice from me for their show or for their career or something. And yes, Ken Webster studied my virtual gastric band hypnosis stuff. He contacted me and asked for it. I also advised him on his mentalism show when he started doing that. Peter Powers I advised on the smoking project he was doing, and various other things. Andrew Newton I promoted his first ever hypnosis training seminars. Speakman, the British TV life coaches, I arguably helped get them on this morning. I certainly helped them do their first training seminars, and they've actually got a product out called the Key to Your Mind, which is an audio therapy thing. That's my script word for word. It's hilarious because it's only a week ago somebody sent me an email going, I want a refund for your Life Changes audio MP3. It's wonderful, but I want a refund because you've clearly ripped this off from the Speakmans. And I had to send them proof that I've licensed my complete mind therapy approach to the Speakmans with my blessing. They use it with my blessing. Love them to bits. I'm not saying anything bad about them. They're great at what they do. I just find it hilarious that people assume, because they're on the telly at the minute, that they must have written it. In actual fact, I'm the backroom boy for a lot of people. Even Darren Brown on his stage show, Miracle, his smash and stab routine, if you've seen it, you saw me do it at Exotic and Peas exactly the same way. Steal it off me, but their company bought my DVDs, which gives them permission to use that. They've used ideas of mine in their TV shows. Objective Productions have used tons of ideas from my No Such Thing as Hypnosis training DVDs on their Rajan and the Evil Hypnotist show, as well as on Darren's shows. And the Backroom Boy to major names out there that, even though they won't necessarily publicly admit it, but you know what they won't do? Although they may not publicly admit it, not a single one of them can sue me, because everything I've just said is provable.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've spoke to you whenever I've had problems with licenses with local authorities within the UK. You know, I remember a couple of years ago I was doing a tour in Scotland where they were then trying to charge me per each individual license for the shows. You were the first person I spoke to about that, and it's one of those. You know, I think because you've been attacked over the years, and you know you are a character. It's fair to say.
I'll take that.
Yeah, you take it, but that has made you a target, and because of that, you've had to defend yourself. So, but because of that, you have to know your stuff, and you do know your stuff. Speaking of knowing your stuff, you've got many books and many products out. However, we have got 2 books here. This is new technology we're trying out tonight. So we're going to go. We've got 2. Let's have a look at the first one. Is the Stage Hypnosis Made Easy.
Try again.
There we go. The stage hypnosis made easy.
It's £9.86. It's 249 A4 pages. If they were in half A5 size, that would mean it's near enough 500 pages. In other words, if you've got Ormond McGill's new encyclopedia of stage hypnosis, it's practically as big as that. It's just in a different format. But what I guarantee you with this, there's more information in the first 20% of my book than there is in all of Ormond McGill's outdated encyclopedia of stage hypnosis. 90% of which doesn't work in the real world, certainly not in England or Europe anyway. No, a lot of it still work in America, but no offense to American stage hypnotists, but I promise you, there's a lot of American stage hypnotists, if they were put on stage in an average working men's club venue in England, they'd die on their ass. Yeah. Whereas the vast majority of British stage hypnotists could pull off a show pretty much anywhere in the English-speaking world.
There's something about the Northern Working Men's Club show. There is something about that audience that if you don't know your stuff, they will tear you apart. And it's a good learning ground, is that?
The odd exception to that, I am going to mention a couple of names because I want to praise them. I have no doubts that Kevin Lepine and Andy Jules could both pull off a show in a Northern Working Men's Club. Why they'd fucking want to, God knows. But they could. But there's a lot that couldn't.
Yeah. So that's one of your books. This next book that we've got, again, there's lots of information in this book, and there was lots of other hypnotists. Go on, you click your fingers. You click your fingers. Oh, look at that. It's like we've practiced this.
He's slightly covered up on the top corner there, but Jim Zealous, who you've had on the show previously, very kindly, he ran when the internet started an online thing that gave advice to fellow stage hypnotists to get corporate work and stuff. And I found it on Web Archive, and I downloaded all the pages, and I read through it all, and I found that the vast majority of it was still applicable in this day and age. Great advice. And I contacted James and I said, can I put this into this book, Secrets of Stage Hypnosis? So this book is like 500 A4 pages. That would be like 2 copies of Ormond McGill's new encyclopedia in terms of content. There is about 400 pages of that is marketing advice, not just from James Zealous, but the top stage hypnotist around the world at the time when that forum was on is in there. There's also more health and safety information for stage hypnotists in this book than any other book currently published for stage hypnotists, which is a key area because the majority of people don't teach health and safety for stage hypnotists properly. And no offense to your guest who was on the other week, Justin James. I've done his safe on stage, but I'm going to say this. As far as teaching people health and safety for stage hypnotism and street hypnosis goes, safeonstage.com does what it was set up for, which is to make the insurance company out there happy enough to give insurance. But you know what? It doesn't even scrape the bloody surface. There's only one product on the market that does, and that's the transparency template. And I don't care where you are in the world, if you have not studied the transparency template, which is 12 hours of video training, not just me, but there's various other stage hypnotists and health and safety experts involved in the product. If you've not studied that, I guarantee there's still stuff you can learn because no one's got anything close to it and never will they. Or if they do, they'd have to copy what's on. And that sounds egotistical and big-headed. Yes, I know it does. I accept that it does, but it's fact. And if you don't believe me, prove me wrong by getting it. And if what I've just said is not true, and you can find another already existing stage hypnosis or street hypnotism training product that covers health and safety, duty of care, and all the legal things to the level the transparency does, then I'll give you 10 times your money back because you can't find it. I know you can't. It doesn't exist.
So, it's been fun. Yeah. I can't wait to go through all the messages I've got on my phone since you've been on. But you know, I knew having you on as a guest live was going to be interesting. But you know what? Some absolutely very, very valid points there. You know.
Thank you for having me on. I've just got to say, for people watching this, I mean, Grant alluded to the fact that we met in the past. I've seen Grant perform, and I've watched his career grow, and it's great to have seen him grow and carve out a niche and a brand. And they're
thank you.
They're two key words.
Yeah.
I think the majority of stage hypnotists could do with taking more notice of: a niche and a brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, all right, in my case, it was Britain's bad boy of hypnosis, or back in the 90s, it was Britain's most pornographic stage hypnotist. I don't do that stuff now. It was a different era. It was a different time. Yes, it still follows me around, but ironically, it also still helps me.
Yeah.
But it can be as simple as your colouring, your branding. With Grant, he has all the purple stuff going on, the almost sideshowy. Get something that makes you stand out. Don't just be another hypnotist. Yeah. I know I have zero competition on the planet. And that's not me being big-headed, right? Okay, this Swedish TV show that I filmed about 12 months ago, and it's been shown in art galleries in Sweden. Because of COVID, it's not gone out on the TV channel yet, but it will be doing. It's a performance art thing over 3 episodes. And it's about the state of the media and how the media brainwash and lie to people. So when they went looking for a hypnotist for the hypnosis segment, I'd got the job.
Yeah.
You know, I am the guy taking legal action against Murdoch. I am the guy who's taken on the media. And at the time, it looked like I'd lost. But now, you know, good 20 odd years on, I'm winning. Yeah. I was the only person for the job. When the Gadget Show wanted somebody to make people reveal their confidential passwords against their will.
I remember that.
Doing that, most people say isn't possible. The clips are on my website. They came to me because I was openly known as the guy who says you can make people do things against their moral code and value. Because I blatantly, and I had a mind control documentary come out at the end of last year called Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis. There's more information about it on my website. There's clips on there, but I categorically state this, and I prove it in the documentary. You can make people do things against their moral code and value. Yeah. You can turn them into mind-controlled assassins. You can turn them into mind-controlled sex slaves. It has gone on. MK Ultra was a real thing, and it's still going on. We're living through the biggest psyop in history at the moment.
Yes, I mean, that's a show all in it of itself. Is that it's it's very, very David Icke territory.
Yeah, and well, David is a good friend of mine, and you'll see pictures of me with him on. In fact, you can watch my documentary free on David Icke's iconic channel, iconic.com. And that's upset. I know it upset a lot of hypnotherapists and stage hypnotists that I will come out and say, on the one hand, I say hypnosis doesn't exist because the way most people teach it, it doesn't. All it is emotional and psychological manipulation.
Yeah.
Now, with positive intent, that can have positive outcomes. With negative intent, it can brainwash, manipulate, and control. And the biggest hypnotist in the world's in the corner of your living room. It's the television set. That's why they're called programs. Or these days, it's social media. That is the biggest hypnotist of all.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Alex, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, Grant, for being brave enough and having the balls, haven't you? But I mean, I know you don't give a shit, but there's a lot of people, you know, Steve Miller had a similar thing when he put on the Royal event. He had so-called respectable professional names in this country and around the world contacting him and going, look at this, he's a rapist. He said he hypnotized women into bed 365 times a year. No, that's the way you've interpreted it. What I actually said to the media was, and I can prove this, I said that I hypnotized women with their consent, keyword was consent, to fulfill their sexual fantasies of sleeping with the man of their dreams. Now, some of the stories got blown out of proportion and the mention of consent was so small, it was hardly there. And in one Murdoch article, Murdoch paper article, it was written in such a manner in January 1994 to imply that I did it against people's will. But that is part of the current litigation process because...
And it sells more papers. Exactly. It sells more papers. The shot. Exactly.
It took me around the world as well.
Brilliant. Alex, thank you very much for being on. My love to your family and your daughter and everyone else as well.
All the best to
and,
Joey as well.
Take care. See you soon.
Take care. Bye, everyone.